What's up, guys? This is Joshua Harmon Sr. back with another Ask a Pro 479, and I have a serial entrepreneur, and he also happens to be family, Patrick Boze with Patrick Boze Life Coaching. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So if you can't tell, he's extremely tall. How tall are you?
7 feet.
So not only is he a very genuine person, he's family to me. I love him a lot, but he also has been a serial entrepreneur for a very, very long time. So we wanted to bring him onto the show, talk a little bit about his background and what he has going on these days. So where did you start? Where did you get all these great ideas? How did you get into entrepreneurship altogether?
Well, that's a long story, but before I go there, I just want to say that this guy right here is my nephew, and I am super proud of you.
Thank you.
Like, he's out here doing it.
Thank you.
And so impressed with what you've done in like the 10 years that I've known you. So
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
make me very proud. The whole
So
family.
tell us about the background. Where did you get started? What was your first entrepreneurial venture? And where do you think this gene came from?
Started, I guess maybe I was born with it. I was about 8 years old, and I noticed one of the parking lots on Grand was dirty. They were cruising back in those days, cars cruising up and down Grand.
Okay.
And I stopped by Taco Bell and I said, "Hey, can I clean your parking lot?"
Crazy.
And they couldn't pay me, so they paid me in tacos, which my family loved a lot. And that kind of just became a handful of businesses. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, I'd get up early and go clean up.
Yeah.
So kind of started there, and over the years, I've probably had 7 ventures.
Yeah.
One of those, e-commerce websites. I had a digital marketing agency. I worked with Fox Studios and MGM Home Studios doing their social media, and that became a tech startup in New York City. It was a video commerce website. We had a patent pending on that, and recently I helped start the Future School of Fort Smith. So I was there for 3 years. We went from 0 students to 225 students in 3 years.
It's crazy to see that place grow.
Yeah, it's an amazing program. I'm very proud to have been part of that. And we graduated our first class in May. And when they graduated, I kind of graduated too.
Yeah.
So I did my time, and I'll have relationships with those kids that I'll never forget. So, and I hope they don't forget me too, or at least something I said.
No, they won't, man.
During that time.
You guys changed a lot of lives with that school. I mean, just your house is like not too far from it. And just kind of, me backing into, I'm not the most social person, so I kind of stay out to myself. But getting into those events, just sometimes seeing these kids, they're so happy. It's like the cohort of students that y'all started with, they seem to all be really, really good friends. So
yeah,
it was awesome that you guys did that. Just going back to when you first started with entrepreneurship, when you were cleaning parking lots. Just curious, how much were they paying you then? I mean, I know they had to pay you some kind of money other than tacos. So how much were they paying you then? Just curious.
That's a good question. I was probably way underpaid.
Market. Yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, businesses aren't that way anymore. You can't do that. Like if one of my kids wanted to do that, they'd probably kick them out. But I mean, back then I can kind of see where you had to, and you lived not too far from that Taco Bell.
Yeah, it was a block away.
Yeah.
So all those little restaurants right there, I'd just go around. Like a couple times I had friends come with me, and I gave them some tacos, and we had fun.
That's awesome. Talk a little bit about VidBid. He's kind of downplaying it. It was a really, really big thing. I mean, when I first met him like 8 years ago, I mean, it was almost 9 years now. Dang, it's crazy. But yeah, when I first met you, VidBid was like huge. You had like a whole, presentation to how you would present to investors. I mean, it was a really big thing. How did that get started? Who started the idea? And as what kind of happened with that business?
Yeah, sure. It started out with that question of how do we advertise on the internet? Because on TV, there's a clear formula: content, advertisement. That's how soap operas started. They built content around soap commercials. So on the internet, it's not as clear, and there's a lot more creativity you could bring into it. So we were just constantly asking, how do we advertise on the internet? How do we do something different? And the idea came to my head that, well, what if the content was about the product and it was the advertising? That's how I trademarked sponsortainment.
Okay.
But looking more into that, it became a combination of YouTube meets eBay meets QVC. You could just turn on your camera, record a video, or live stream the product that you're talking about. And video is very telling of what's going on.
You were before your time, I'm telling you.
Yeah, right. I was before my time, and that's part of my story is, but for example, I one time sold an old car on Craigslist. I got up early, got really good shots of it from here and there. It looked great, but when people came and saw it, they said, this is not the same car.
Exactly.
But on video, it tells the story very clearly, and it also had things like audio, so I could turn the radio on and I could start the car. People really understand through video. You're watching a video now. So we worked on that for 4 or 5 years. We took some capital in, and we had a team of about 10 people working on it. We created hundreds of videos about products all around New York, and we had a patent pending, which we spent, I'm going to tell you, about 20 grand on. And we went with a patent attorney who had done other auction technologies and gotten patents for. Mm-hmm. So we went with him because he had the experience. And in that 3 years that we were fighting for the patent, the laws changed on internet technologies. So we were subject to those new laws. So we ended up losing the patent. And that was really the beginning of the end for us. Because investors wanted to see that we had some way of protecting what we were doing, and we couldn't get another round of financing without the patent. And it was also something brand new, and investors are wanting to invest in things that they're comfortable with. You see investors investing in the same type of companies. They've done their due diligence about about that market and that ecosystem of where that business would fit in. But a video commerce was in 2 different areas. So we had a hard time getting investors to that point where they were going to write a check for us. But I mean, I literally wore a hole in the bottom of my shoes, hitting the pavement all over New York City, talking to investors, Vegas. I was all over the place. I lived and breathed VidBid.
Yeah, I remember.
So I taught myself to do video editing. I taught myself web development. In startups, you have to do everything. In small businesses, you have to be a master of many trades. So it was a great learning experience. And now I'm able to look back and see what I did right, what I did wrong, and share that information now with other people who are coming to me and, should I do this? And I'm like, well, my experience has been no. This is what happened when I did it. And I will say one of the biggest mistakes that I made looking back is I tried to make my beta perfect. And my coach told me, I want to take you to my investors, but they want to see a picture perfect. So I spent days, weeks moving pixels around on the page, making sure the button was perfect and making it look fabulous. And whenever I should have been just threw a YouTube video on and an eBay buy now button, let people play with it, see if they like it, see if this is even a good idea. I was living in my world, keeping a secret from the world about what I was working on. If I had gone back, I would have taken more of a customer development strategy. Just put something together, see people like it. What I did learn is that at that time, people were really nervous about video. Think about it now. Everybody's on video. Everywhere you go around town, you're on video. So people are more comfortable with it and talking on video than they were then. So
well, one thing I wanted people to really think about what he was saying on just like our slogan is do more for 2020 for our company. What he's saying is I should have just put it out and let the customers decide what they wanted, and ultimately they would have told me what I would have gotten back. And in that meantime, and all that time that you spent, could have been doing so many other things, meeting more investors, meeting more partners, meeting more people who can get on with the brand and really help you get to where you wanted to be. So that makes a lot of sense. So ultimately,
one point on that is in today's world, investors are really looking at followers. So if I would have, people are investing in companies that really have no revenue stream or no real clear way of making money.
They have eyeballs.
They have eyeballs, and that speaks to investors.
TikTok.
So
if y'all know about that,
it's a world of social, and that's where I went to investors and I had 100 likes. So it wasn't enough for investors to really get going. However, if I would have started even with a funny show, it would have helped with that. So that's something. And I was worried about my intellectual property.
Yeah, for sure.
And now there are several of the big players, like Amazon, for example, that really are doing what Vidbit was doing.
Yeah.
They have people on there that are selling live, and that was our problem. We knew that the big people could come in and just take our idea without a patent protecting it. So just go out there, talk to people about what you're doing from day one. Just start talking.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's great advice. I mean, that's something that I even struggle with. Been in real estate now for 3 years. In my first 2 years, I was like in a bubble, sitting on the porch or sitting in a closed off room. And not really socializing with people, but everything that you want to like, somebody else has it.
Yeah.
You just gotta really just go out there and find it. Be social and let the people decide.
Yeah, someone may have the exact same idea, but they don't have you.
Yeah.
So you're the best thing going.
Yeah. So being in what year was that? 2012 or so. What was next after that? After VidBid?
After VidBid, I was licking my wounds. I took some time off and ended up back here in Fort Smith. So that's how when the school came around.
Yeah. So the school was the next phase for you.
Yeah.
Future School. And how did you get connected with the Future School? I mean, that was like, even now, even the next places they're going, I'm just like, man, this is crazy. But the funding they're trying to get for the next phase of the building.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at some of the the blueprints they have, and I'm like, that's big time. So just being at the start of it, I couldn't imagine what it was like, just an idea of how you would go to the next level of starting a school. Like, that's a big deal. How did you get involved in it?
This is a funny story because I do live close to the school, and I saw the founder, Trish, walking by with this Future School shirt on, and I just yelled out at her like, "Hey, you! What are y'all doing down there?"
Did y'all know each other before?
No.
Okay.
She just was walking by, and I was curious, and she, it had that startup energy, which attracted me.
Yeah.
And I knew the old building, the old girls club building. So she just told me what they were doing, and I just said, "How do I get involved?"
Yeah.
I started off coaching and giving workshops, and my roles in it just grew and grew, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember, because we lived on Fifth Street. We lived on Fifth Street, right, and we used to take our dogs over there onto that fence. So when I seen the signs in the yard saying that they were trying to develop something, I was like, man, this is you taking away my dog park. But,
What was our dog park? Yeah.
So I'm happy that happened. So after the Future School, and now you're phasing out of that, where are you today, and what business are you excited about today?
Today I'm excited about coaching. So I first started life coaching 10 years ago. I did training at an aggressive school in Puerto Rico. And I say aggressive because if you know many Puerto Ricans, they can be kind of aggressive. Yeah. So I learned from them. I did that for about a year, working for that company after I did my training. And then part of my goals in that coaching program was to go back to grad school. Okay. So I spend a lot of my energy there, getting my MBA, and then that, in grad school, I started a digital marketing company. Yeah. And then I was doing that, and then I did VidBid, and it took me away from it, but coming back and doing the Future School and working with those kids, I was reminded of how much I love helping people. And so now I am doing my own coaching. I have an office here in Fort Smith, and I have an office in New York City, and I go back and forth. Each month, so I see clients here once a month, and there are some there, and then most of my other clients are on the internet around the country. So I work with everything from teens to people in those final stages of life. So just with my life experiences, I am able to relate with them, or if it's a good fit, we find things that we can relate to.
Just find a commonality.
Yeah. So, and just the coaching techniques. If you're not familiar with coaching, I like to compare it with therapy. Therapy, I'm not a therapist, But therapy looks back at what happened and tries to create a diagnosis. Coaching looks at the now and the near future, and how are you looking at things? What are your goals? And what I look for is what's keeping you back, and that's typically the story that we're telling ourselves.
Yeah.
So we explore that story. We see where it can be helping you and where it can be hurting you, and really find maybe just different ways of looking at things. And sometimes, a lot of times, it's a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
So we just kind of ground in what's happening, and in a lot of what I look at is our purpose. And if you have a purpose, it's inherently motivating.
Yeah.
And that's that. And then if you're passionate, if you find that passion, you can keep yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And I do offer accountability for my clients if they want it.
Yeah.
Happy to do that. I have a client who deals with self-love and taking care of herself. So she texts me every day to let me know she took her pills.
Yeah.
It's just a really hard thing for her to do, you know? And it's just something going on in her. So she has a reminder, she takes the pills, and she texts me. And that works. And she's feeling much better now.
Yeah.
So I do that accountability, but I look deeper and look at what's really what we want to do, because a lot of times, you know, life doesn't come with a manual.
Yeah.
We have to write it as we go, and we have to write our story. And I ask, is your story a happy ending, or is it a drama and a tragedy?
Yeah.
You're writing the story right now. Write it so you're the star.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was actually watching an interview not too long ago. Robert Smith, who was a billionaire. I think he's the most wealthy guy in technology that's African American or something like that. He's a billionaire. He actually paid off all student loans for the last graduating class of Morehouse.
Wow.
And he was talking about the difference between the successful and the people who are not successful is the accessibility to mentorship. So somebody like Patrick, who's literally saying, hey, look, I'm local. I'm just like you and everybody else. I'm not some benefactor, but I have enough life experiences where I can share with you and help you get to that next level. I think that's what's going to separate you from your competition, being willing to listen to somebody else and get that mentorship to take you over the hump where you may be right now. Because he's been through stuff. Whatever you think about him, he's been through enough experiences to where you can learn from somebody like Patrick. So what is your most common, and I know every situation is different, but when somebody's reaching out to you, what situation where are they currently?
I find that a lot of my clients have a similar story to me. They are probably entrepreneurs or in management or an executive of a company. They have that professional focus. They have a passion for that. And many of my clients are also in recovery from addiction and trauma, which is also part of my story. So I'm able to relate with those type of clients. I find that kind of work very fulfilling. And I have a new book coming out, hopefully next month, if everything goes well, about recovery as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are 3 times more likely to have addiction in their little story.
Yeah.
And 70% more likely to have mental health, either them or in their immediate family. So this is an area that we're just starting to really explore. So, I'm just happy to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, mental health and addiction is a big part of our society today.
Yeah.
Like just the normal person walking up the street, let alone the entrepreneur who has, the way your bread and butter, how you feed your family is dependent on you going out there and creating something that nobody else may believe in at the moment. So, I mean, having somebody to talk to, sometimes just me personally, and I talked to a little bit about this before we started, I can't do therapy. I don't want to do the person I've never met and they don't know my situation. Let's just be honest. But somebody who's been in business, I would be more comfortable to talk to somebody who's actually built something for themselves. I mean, hell, Vidbit. Who would have ever thought, I mean, this sounds like a simple idea now, but 2010, I mean, that was unheard of, doing video and selling something online. So talking to somebody like Patrick, who has been through a lot of the, the entrepreneurial stresses, how am I going to pay not only myself, how I'm gonna pay these 9 people who are working for me right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot of stress. Yeah.
That's stress. I don't know how I'm gonna pay these people, and they're depending on me to take care of not only them but their families. So I mean, I think that's amazing. So
yeah, as an employee, I can talk to my colleagues.
Yeah.
There's a stress here. Are we gonna get paid? Kind of things like that. But as the buck stops here, it can be a very lonely place.
Very lonely.
And a very stressful. And who are you going to talk to? I have a coach, so when I had those stresses, I go to him like, this is what's going on with me, and he kind of gets me lined up and grounded, and I can go back to my work. So you're right. Either whether it be a coach or a mentor, it's important to have someone that you can relate to, that you can admire even.
Yeah.
Not that my clients necessarily admire me. I don't try to put myself on a pedestal at all. But I can relate, and I can be empathetic, and I can ask good questions.
Yeah. So even my realtor friends out there, talking to your broker, you may not have that personal relationship with your broker, but maybe talking to somebody like Patrick, who's also been in real estate too, and also is a real estate investor. I mean, I think that'd be a perfect person to sit down and talk with, just to get your point across without somebody really and knowing that they understand your situation. You know what I'm saying? So I think that'd be great.
And confidentiality.
Yeah, and
coaching is built on confidentiality. Even more than therapy. Your insurance provider knows your diagnosis.
Yeah.
I will never tell.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So where do you see this company going? Who do you want to, how far do you want this to go? You're just trying to have a few clients, or you trying to make this a huge thing? Where do you want to go?
Well, I want to help as many people as possible, especially people who can relate to my story. On the business side, I recently launched a e-learning website, leadsacademy.co. There's about 100 videos on there about lots of different, really, some of them are groundbreaking strategies that business owners can use to kind of just set it and forget it. Talking about sales funnels, keeping that constantly coming in. Yeah, so I have that, and I'm always, adding more content to that. Group coaching, I do group coaching as well as individual coaching. Things have been good for me. I am actually bringing on another business coach, so to kind of help with that flow. So if you are interested in business, or you have a business experience and you like helping people, then definitely contact me. My system is called Leads Accelerator, and you can be found at leadsaccelerator.co. And of course, there's a link on my website, patrickboze.com, to all of that. So I want to get out there, speaking engagements, really just creating a team of people using my system and really being able to help people.
Yeah, just especially in the climate we're in today. I mean, everybody, I think with the evolution of video over time, I think that's kind of opened people up to, being more open to coaching and learning from people. Because ultimately, I mean, you can't do anything on your own. You need a team, and having a mentor, that's literally a part of your team. If you own a business, you have your marketing person, you have your salesperson, but you need that person to keep you in check and keep you accountable as well.
Yeah.
To keep you on the right track. So I think that's pretty important.
We're walking through life like this, and we see what's right in front of us. It's like blinders.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see what's side of us and behind us. Having someone who has an objective view of the situation and say, hey, you're standing in fire, or there's an opportunity right here, you just had to turn your head. Yeah. So that's where having a third party perspective can be life-saving, really.
Yeah, I agree. Well, again, tell people how they can get in contact with you and they can view your content. And then, for sure, I want people to definitely tap into what Patrick is doing right now. So like I said, even me, myself, it's been times that, I don't always need somebody guiding me, but it's been times I'm like, man, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. So how can people get in contact with you so they can, take off those blinders and get the full view of, what's going on and how they can improve themselves?
Yeah, my website is patrickboze.com. Now you can get more information about my life coaching, my business coaching, and my recovery coaching. And you can also find, if you want to know specific stuff about my business coaching or download my ebook, you can find it at leadsaccelerator.co. And all of that information is there. The ebook is free, and I talk about 8 of my favorite strategies in that. So, and like me on Facebook, and you'll get more information about my new book.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in,
You
Patrick.
bet.
You guys tap into what he has going on. I mean, you wanna leverage, his experience and things he's been through to help accelerate yourself and get you to the next level. So thanks for tuning in to another episode, and we'll see you guys next time.